Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready.
It's a much-needed bye week for the Utes as they get set for the final stretch of the 25 season. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Covering the Utes better than anyone else. This is Ute Insider Steve Bartle of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake, Scott, Ben Anderson. It's time to talk some Utes. He covers the Utes for KSLSports.com. And Christian just told us he's got his video feed up, so you can actually see him at the YouTube or at KSLSports.com. And boy, do you want to see this guy.
I can't believe Christian let his own camera go to let Bartle on.
Oh, yeah, Christian is pretty into Christian.
On a bye week?
I got it, Christian. I got it. Hey,
wow.
Time change for tomorrow. We've got the college show with Christian Esparza. Starring Christian Esparza starting at 8 o'clock. And you can catch Real Golf Radio, or you might know it as Real Golf Radio, from 10 to noon.
If you haven't seen our stream lately, it's 3 boxes split up, but Christian's the big top box, and you and I have 2 little windows in the bottom, picture in picture.
We know.
But whatever.
We know. 8 o'clock tomorrow. Don't miss it. Covers the Utes for KSLSports.com. He's
You'll
our buddy.
get a push notification on your phone.
He's our buddy Steve Bartle. Hi, Steve.
What's up, fellas? How we doing?
You sound great, Steve. Thanks for jumping on. Hey, I saw you a little bit last night on the podcast. How has this second bye week gone for the Utes?
Yeah, I think it's gone really well. You know, it's I was talking with a couple people this week, and again, similar to the first bye week, rest has been the priority for Utah. And going into the bye week, they were in pretty good shape. Obviously, they've suffered some season-ending injuries and had some other guys with bumps and bruises and that sort of thing. But, you know, at this point of the season, compared to the previous 2 or 3, Utah's in really good shape when we're talking about the injury front and health. And so, you know, I think this bye week came at a really great time for Utah, right? You got through the first 2 phases of the schedule. You're now 7-2. You're ranked 13th in the college football playoff. This was a great time for Utah to have a bye to sort of reset and recharge essentially for these final 3 games of the season.
What's your take on these early college football playoff releases and polls and all that stuff? Do you put any stock into it?
No, I you know, we've learned over the last few years that, you know, there's a lot of talk, and the committee is in full control of what they want and who they want, you know, in the college football playoffs. So the next couple of weeks, you know, it's going to be fun to discuss where certain teams land in the ranking. But, you know, just kind of given the history of the committee and, you know, the week-to-week changes that we've seen, where it's just kind of like, okay, what's the logic here? What's the reasoning in trying to pick up what the committee is prioritizing, you know, not only year after year, but week to week, essentially. That's sort of been what the committee, sort of the mode of operation for the committee. And there's, you know, so I think it's great for Utah to be ranked 13th. But, you know, given the fact that we're still a month away from the ranking that truly matters at the end of the season, you know, there's a long way to go. And so, you know, it's just going to be important for Utah and all the other teams to just take care of business as best they can.
With that said, Steve, why is Utah ranked 13th? I mean, I'm with you. They have set up situations where USC could jump them, and there are storylines of Vandy who could jump them, or Virginia or Georgia Tech or whoever. But why are they ranked 13th? What do you think they've seen from Utah, especially recently, that gave them that ranking?
Yeah, I think when you have multiple wins in, you know, in the sort of dominating fashion that Utah has had this season, and outside of the 2 losses, each one of their wins have been in dominant fashion. So you've got 7 wins of pretty comfortable margin. Utah not only has you know, created a healthy margin on the scoreboard, but when you look at a lot of the metrics and a lot of the predictive metrics that are out there, Utah is showing up really strongly in a lot of those analytics, and that's the sort of thing that I think is helping Utah more than anything else. Is their performance? It's not fluky. This is Utah being as efficient as they can be offensively. Being stingy on defense. There's been a lot of talk of the defense struggling, but still at the end of the day, they're giving up less than just about 14 points a game. And that's pretty significant. So Utah is not only getting these big margins of victory, but they're doing so in pretty dominant fashion statistically across the board. So it's really impressive what they've been able to do. And then when you look at the two losses, obviously both of those come against two top 10 teams now in the ranking, with BYU at 7 and Texas Tech at 8. And you go back, you look at the Texas Tech result 34-10, but you remember that game was 13-10 with 8 minutes left to go. And then going on the road in the rivalry game and dropping that one by 3 points. I think those are the things that have helped Utah and what landed them there at 13. There's not a lot of really bad results. Obviously, the end result in the Tech game being what it was, the 24-point margin, sticks out. But I think the context there is maybe something that the committee factored into the conversation with Utah. So I think there's a lot of things that have put them there. And I think it's, again, I'm a broken record here, but it's going to be on them to continue to perform this way the rest of the season in these final 3 games, because you look at the rest of the schedule and there's not the obvious opportunity to add another quality win. So they've got to do it the way that they've done it so far this season, by winning pretty emphatically.
So earlier today, Steve, Ben and I were trying to pin down just how good the Raiders the Raiders offense is, and Ben went through a bunch of scores.
This is the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
The Raiders, that's what I said.
I was going to say the Raiders last night.
No,
that was pretty rough.
The Raiders in the Big 12, although very similar.
Yeah, I got you.
Very similar fan bases. Very, very similar. We were trying to pin down.
I'm out.
We're trying to pin down just how good the Raiders offense was, and Ben went through a bunch of scores, and they have been steamrolling teams much like the Utes, and I think you could kind of see the parallel here. My question to you is, how many good, not even great, how many good defenses are in the league?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think Texas Tech has a really good defense. They're really good.
Yeah, I agree. That's one.
Pressure controlling.
As much as that hurts.
Utah, sure. Utah, BYU for sure, with the way that they're able to generate takeaways. Arizona State is, I want to put them in this category because they've done a good job, but too many times they're right on that border.
The Raiders were that against, or the Sun Devils were that against the Raiders, but they were not that against Utah. So I don't know if I'm throwing the Devils in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like there's a lot of results that make me believe Arizona State is good defense, but also some results have not been great for them.
Yep.
I think that's where I would put the list, to be honest, Jake. I think it's those 3, maybe Arizona State. I'm trying to think of.
I agree with you,
others.
by the way.
Arizona has sort of turned the corner, but yeah, it's really that in the Big 12.
I think there might only be 3 good teams in the Big 12. Is that too conservative?
No. I obviously it depends on how we define good, right? I think there are 3 teams that have obviously separated themselves in BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah. Are they good enough to be, in the playoff committee? I think they've done enough to this point to prove that they're that good. I think, we can sort of get into some of the definitions here. What do we define as good? But I think those 3 teams certainly have put themselves in the conversation among the best in the country this year, with the way that BYU is, taking care of business, right? At the end of the day, it's all about the wins and losses. It's not how you get it done, just as long as you get it done. Texas Tech taking care of business, in the same manner that Utah has, with pretty significant margins of victory. They've looked great, both offensively and defensively at times. And then Utah, again, just coming up short in those 2 matchups against Tech and BYU. But given the fact that those 2 teams are top 10 in the country right now. I think you feel really good about those three teams. It's just are there teams behind those three that can close the gap? Is Cincy, do we consider them good? I don't know that we do anymore. Arizona State, Iowa State, I thought those teams would be, in the conversation. Baylor, TCU as well, but they've just not taken care of business in certain games. And, you look at the resume and it's just not impressive. So yeah, I'm with you, Ben. I think it's those three, and it's by a pretty wide margin.
Steve, tell me the story of Creed Whittemore. Why wasn't he playing, and why is he playing now? Because Utah, let's face it, I mean, Ryan Davis has been great, but they've been looking for another receiver the whole season. So take me through what's the deal with Whittemore.
Yeah, they've got Ryan Davis, who's top 5 in the Big 12 in a number of receiving categories, top 2 really behind Jordan Tyson in a number of those. He's been really effective, and obviously with the chemistry that he and Dampier have, pretty significant. So Ryan Davis has been really good, and then Dallin Bentley has been pretty good throughout the season as a solid complement to Davis in the passing attack. But that other wide receiver spot, it's been a rotating cast of characters this season. It's been J.J. Buchanan at times. Larry Simmons had a moment there against Colorado with Bird Ficklin and connecting with him a couple times. And then Creed Whittemore hasn't played a whole lot this season. And, coming out of fall camp, after the first couple weeks, it sounded like he had a really tough time in fall camp with ball security issues, not just in terms of fumbles, but also, catching, converting targets into receptions and all of that sort of thing. It sounded like it was hard for Utah to trust him to go out and execute because he wasn't executing in fall camp. So, credit to him though, because he's stuck with it. He's continued to work. He's continued to put in the time and effort to earn an opportunity. And, he got some looks against Cincinnati last week. And, he had a fade route early on in the game that, he wasn't able to convert on in the end zone, but then got another opportunity late in the game to punch in a touchdown, which was really impressive. And so, yeah, I think Utah is obviously searching for, another complement to Ryan Davis and Dallin Bentley in the passing attack. And I think it's going to be interesting to see who takes advantage of these opportunities in the final 3 games. But it's still going to be kind of the rotation that we've seen. J.J. Buchanan, Larry Simmons, Tobias Merriweather, now that he's going to be returning from the injury report. And so, can Creed Whittemore continue to work his way into more opportunities based on what Kyle Whittingham said post-game, after Cincinnati, that he's helped his cause a lot, and getting into the end zone obviously helped as well. So I think we'll see him get some more opportunities, but that's going to be, I think, a pretty big key for Utah over these final 3 games, is finding another complement in the passing game to Davis and Bentley.
If you had to bet now, how many Big 12 teams make the playoff?
2. I feel comfortable with the Big 12 getting 2 in. What's fascinating is that, here we are November 7th, and, there's at least a path for the Big 12 to get 3 bids. And I think, if we had suggested that, throughout the offseason, that being a talking point, I think, a lot of people in the Big 12 would have jumped at the opportunity to have that as a thing for the conference to get 3 teams in. And I think, but again, I think with the way that the schedule set up for, BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah the rest of the way, and then you look at some of the teams, around Utah and Tech and BYU in the rankings, there's certainly potential for chaos for the Big 12 to get 3 in. There's also potential for those teams, mixed in around there to add quality wins to the resume to get to punch their ticket into the playoffs. So I think the Big 12 gets to, I feel good about that. Not great, but feel good. And there's at least an opportunity for the Big 12 to get 3 in this year, which would be huge for the conference.
All right, Steve, you've covered the Utes against the Cougs, and you've covered the Utes against the Raiders. Who do you think wins tomorrow?
Man, what a great matchup it's going to be. I think given the fact that the game is in Lubbock, that the home crowd is going to be juiced given the fact that ESPN College Game Day is there. I think Texas Tech wins, but I think what BYU has shown is that they're able to really muck up some games, make teams inefficient. And I think given the way that their defense sets up, where they're not necessarily concerned about getting to the quarterback, creating pressure, but dropping players into coverage and creating takeaways. With Bayron Morton, I was never super impressed with him. He is, to me, in my opinion, the weak link of that team. And the issue is there that he really struggles against pressure. So is he going to be able to do enough when not pressured in dissecting that BYU defense, or will BYU be able to create the takeaways that they have against all these other teams without generating pressure? That's going to be the key to me. So I think Texas Tech wins, but I think it's going to be a really competitive game. And I think with what we've seen, I would not be surprised if Tech gets a couple late scores like they have. They just seem to, find a way late in the fourth quarter to add a couple late scores to really push that margin. But I think this is going to be a really competitive game tomorrow, and I have Texas Tech winning.
What did you see from Utah men's basketball in their first game?
A lot of athleticism. That's what I saw. A lot of athleticism. It was
good
definitely
guard play, right?
It was. And that was kind of the big thing was with Terrence Brown and Don McHenry, Utah has guards that I think are better suited for the Big 12 and the athleticism that you need. You need guards that can break down defenders, get into the paint, and kind of create defensive issues, right? Forcing rotations and driving kick opportunities. Utah didn't have that last year on the roster, and I think they've got two in Brown and McHenry. They've got what looks like a pretty solid spot-up shooter in Jacob Patrick. Keanu Dawes and Seydou Traore look to be really versatile forwards. Seydou Traore had 23 points on 9 of 14 shooting, really efficient. This is going to be important for Utah with Weber State coming to the Huntsman Center tomorrow night to continue to build confidence and moving forward. They've got a pretty easy slate the next 5 games. And then they'll face a couple tougher challenges. But this is going to be important for Utah to continue developing chemistry, confidence with this group. There's potential here, but yeah, I think there's some exciting pieces, but a long way to go for Utah this season.
Steve, we appreciate all of your fine work. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend without a game to cover.
Yeah, it'll be quite nice. Appreciate you fellas for having me on. I hope you guys finish the show quite strong and continue to show love to the Red Raider fan base.
Yeah, that's what we do here. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
You're
Steve.
the best. All right, there's our friend Steve Bartle. Does a great job covering the Utes for KSLSports.com.
He's got Texas Tech. I don't think because he's a Utah homer. He's not. I think because he's afraid of Texas Tech's fans coming after him.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
think that's rivalry talk. I think he's afraid
Steve,
for his
Bartle
life.
me this. He's afraid of the Raider fans?
Yeah.
Well, they do mug people, so there is that.
Be afraid of all. He get a tortilla to the face if he's not careful. Is that the Red Raiders?
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah, what a dumb tradition.
Put some scalding hot cheese in there, burn a man's face, and then you get a quesadilla.
BYU should really,
Quite a weapon.
they should really bring back popcorn popping. Do you remember when they did that? You don't? Oh, they used to sing popcorn popping on the apricot tree after the game.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do, Christian? You want me to read that Saturday liner again? All right.
It's the Christian Esparza show, 8 a.m. tomorrow.
What, did you erase the read off of the doc?
I did. We don't need
Christian
it anymore.
erased the read.
We don't need it anymore.
Shame.
I replaced it with something else. We have other things that need to be read.
Oh, man.
You read it. I checked it off. We don't need it anymore.
You can win big every Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Ticket Wednesday. This Wednesday, win tickets to step into the magic at Holiday Lights at the ballpark at America First Square, a brand new immersive holiday tradition opening on November 14th. Reserve your tickets at the ballpark at afs.com and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day on Wednesday for your chance to win. Stay tuned.
Bullying, man.
More next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.